Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Dumpster Fire Podcast. I am your host, Keith, and I am joined today by my good buddy and co host, Gordon.
Yahoo!
Dude, this is our 10th episode.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't
It doesn't feel like it.
Yeah, it's our 10th episode. Can you imagine we've been able to keep this shit going for 10 episodes and not, completely lost our point of view?
Yeah, I mean, coming from working graves and us having kids, I'm surprised we still have brain molecules going on.
Yeah, we're sharing a brain cell, maybe two, as it is. Well, the thing is, I think about that too. We're the ones that have the youngest kids too,
Yeah.
and we still are making this shit happen. So what the fuck is John? No, I was kidding. What the fuck is John's problem? No, I'm just kidding. We love John.
Yeah, John's a good guy.
Yeah, we just like to fuck with him. But no, first topic on the list today, slavery. Do you ever wonder what kind of slave owner you would have been?
The free kind.
Well, I'm just saying, I'll set the scene for you. It's 1795. You're in Kentucky, dude. You're out there. You're getting shit done.
Well, I mean, I feel like...
I know myself. I like collecting things now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, everything... And, slavery has not gone away. I mean, you look at...
We weren't the ones to invent it either.
No. I mean, it's just... You look at businesses now. That's all they run, though.
Yeah. I mean, it's wage slavery.
Yeah.
It's easier to keep someone a wagey than to fucking pay them to where they can actually afford to live, bro.
Yeah.
But, yeah, dude, isn't it kind of fucking lame? We didn't invent slavery. We're kind of biters. we're kind of copycats. We didn't even fucking get into that for our own thing. We got coerced into it by other nations and continents.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no. It's weird. I
love history. I love this. They're like, hey, white man, come here. You see this? You like what you see? You like what you see? Yes, take it with you. We don't want it no more.
Yeah.
This one's used up. You can have it half price. That's literally the conversation I think that happened. The first day when they showed up with the boat.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's crazy because there's so much different types of just slavery in general. I mean...
All right, let's go down the list. I like that.
I mean, you look at the Irish. You look at...
That's me right there, dude.
When they came into...
They came on the Mayflower or whatever?
Well, I mean, when they came across... Or is have you ever watched the movie, Cinderella Man?
Yeah.
Great Depression.
Yeah.
How everyone's, looking for a job and trying to make it in America.
Everybody's looking for a can of soup, bro.
Yeah.
Just one.
There's always, so many different hardships.
Hey, can I get a biscuit?
Where I get kind of, upset because it's just, it's... For example, when a lot of things were going on in the past and present, where people are oh, well, say, our race has been dealing with this for, 21, 90 whatever years, and then it's
Oh, you're saying, the white race?
No, I mean, it's just, So, let's say the black culture likes to say, well, we were, the only ones that were slaves. It's not true. Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, it's, you look at every other, culture.
You want to know the longest standing people that were slaves? It's the fucking Egyptians, bro. They were slaves for, millenniums, dude.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, you just can't hold it off to, one race. everyone has.
Well, no. But like when you think of comedy and like when you think of like the comedic aspect of it, the people automatically assume you're talking of like the black race or like the black slavery.
Yeah.
That's like where comedy goes. And that's what I've noticed.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's like, why is South Park still around? Is they make fun of everything, but
Oh, good old South Park.
Oh yeah.
Our bread and butter of the culture we grew up on.
Yeah. Yeah. But
I love that you brought up the Irish though, dude.
well, I mean, it's the Irish. And then it's everyone's had their like hardships. Like you look at the natives that were, you know, not just. It's like they didn't have like a deal or.
Well, yeah, natives didn't get like traditional slavery. They weren't.
It was more of like genocide.
They genocide and getting gypped. Like they got like tricked essentially.
Yeah.
They got dogged on.
Oh yeah.
They got dog watered.
But the thing is it's always so hard to be like, okay, who was here first? What you know what civilization, what race was the one that fucked everything up, because everyone's more in a warrior aspect. Like you look at like the natives, how they had so many different tribes, the Comanche, the
Are we talking about
Apache.
just natives? Or are we talking about like other races
Well,
too, with
I'm
like the
just
warrior
throwing this in
aspect?
there as an aspect
Okay.
where you look at natives and how not all natives were the same, because each tribe was different, right? You had your one tribe that was just more as like, they lived off their land and everything. You got the another tribe next door that's more of your like warrior aspect that would, take over and fuck over the next person.
Like
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
fucking
So I mean,
out there with spears and shit.
I feel like, and that's just, I feel like people in general, is there's not just one bad white person. Well, besides Hitler,
William Knifeman.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. It's everyone's had their hardships. It's just I can't really look at it and say, oh, it was this, this is what you did. Your whole civilization is like fucked up.
So I have a question for you. That is on this topic. So do you believe that, because a few years back when the whole reparations for slavery was a big trending thing going around that they were wanting to do you think that was actually a valid thing, or do you think that's something that's like, oh, why would we do that? Because not a single person alive today has ever been a slave, and it's been several like generations of families since slavery was a thing. Like you can't even remember someone who was a slave. They're probably all past now, kind of deal.
Yeah.
Like, what was your take on that whole reparations thing? Because I never actually ever asked you that question. Like, where you stand, where you teeter on that tightrope.
No, I mean my thing is just
Choose your words very carefully.
I know, right? Nah, it's just I don't really know a form of racism to where it got to like that point, if that makes sense. So like I don't understand really how people talk about slavery, and there's some people that say it still exists to this day. I mean, you look at all the what is it called, the what was it called, it's like blood diamonds.
Yeah.
I mean that.
Yeah, I remember that.
That's slavery in its own right there. You're taking someone, you're making them work for zero fucking profit.
Kids back in the mines.
Yeah, I mean, but then you look at it in other ways too. Like it's in other like third world countries, slavery is still a thing. It's just to us where you just don't really
To us pampered first world individuals, we don't really understand what that means anymore.
Or we just don't see it. I mean, a movie will come on or a documentary where we'll like sit down and it'll like kind of
Like Once a Slave, like that movie.
yeah.
That was a good movie,
Oh, it was a good movie.
but then again, it's only representing one culture. Have you ever noticed that most of the slave movies only represent one culture?
I mean, yeah, but it's just it's more of a hard thing to look at and be like, oh well, in a way, it's it's people trying to like the biggest thing is for the world, like the biggest thing that was always said was if we don't know our history's going to like repeat itself.
It's fucking doing it already. What do you fucking? We're already fucking it up again.
Yeah, well, to be fair, maybe that's just how it's supposed to always draw back to.
I'm just starting to think we're like human beings are dumb. Like in like general as a species, we're just kind of dumb. Like we can't get to the moon again. Like, are you shitting me? We did it like twice, and we can't do it again.
Well, I mean, it's billion freaking dollar, industry. It's hard to be like, I mean, you look at the giant telescope they sent into space. That was like,
The one that's still up there and is slowly running out of power.
Yeah, it's like $1 billion thing.
Yeah.
I mean, shit. Like, wasn't Elon Musk one of the only guys in history just to shoot up his fucking car into space?
For shits and gigs?
Yeah, just for shits and gigs. God knows wherever that fucking goes. What happens if it just, like, drifts off, let's just say, 10,000 years from now?
It's probably on
It fucking, like, comes to another planet that has life, and that life gets extinct because it crash lands, causes a huge ass explosion.
And they're actually really deathly like sick of that chemical, that one chemical, and it just wipes out their entire race.
Yeah, like, how fucked up would that be?
It's like it's actually the car is actually just sitting on the moon right now.
Yeah, and that's what I was just saying. Like, if we don't know our history repeats itself. And we already know there's a lot of things wrong in life. And I guess the thing is now
we don't have slavery that we think of. We have wage slavery is what we have.
Yeah, I agree.
That's the biggest problem in today's society.
Wear this, talk like this.
Do this. Shut up. Sit and look pretty.
Sign this contract here.
Yeah.
Union.
We might pay you back.
Yeah.
So my whole thing on that is it's easier because I was watching I know Andrew Tate. Not a lot of people like him because he comes off as an asshole. But if you listen to some of his stuff, he kind of makes sense. Like he was talking about that, how like. The whole slavery thing and wages and stuff like that. Corporations aren't allowed to have slaves anymore, obviously, but it's a lot easier to keep people on a wage that they barely make enough to get by, that they keep coming back for more because they can't escape it.
Yeah.
So you basically they keep them a wagey their whole life, and then they're just a wage slave. That's where we're at right now in today's culture, because you look at it like fuck, like how much money do you have to be making to live comfortably nowadays? Like, remember when $20 an hour was a lot of money?
Yeah, no. I remember $1 could actually get you a bar of candy. Now that could even barely get you a pack of gum.
I was gonna say, yeah, that same bar of candy is now like $5.
Mm-hmm.
You want a Snickers, dude? That's like 10 minutes of your shift.
Yeah.
Think about that. That's how every purchase I make, I think about how much money, how many hours was this to purchase that I worked to be able to purchase this item, right?
Yeah.
Well, so if you buy something for $40, that's 2 hours of your life you just spent right there, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy to think about stuff that way?
It is, and I try not to think about money as a huge, thing, even though money is like it's literally like everything, you know.
Yeah.
You're sick, you need surgery, yada yada yada. That's just
You want a
money on
bigger
top
dick.
of money, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's if you
One of
money is going to get you through like so many things, but I try not to think as like money as like the biggest thing, even though it is, right? Because if I sit there and think about it, then I'm just gonna just wallow, get depressed, and stay in my like little hermit cave because
Yeah.
I feel
I
like
hate it here.
yeah.
Fuck it. I hate it here.
Well, it's
Yeah.
just you look at several things and you're like, okay, well, I could just you know do things that
Make me happy.
yeah, like going home and like watching movies that you haven't seen before where you're like, oh shit.
For me, it was Donnie Darko.
For me, it was that's dark.
That was a good fucking movie.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just or like having like little tiny like hobbies, um, even if you're going home and you're like just drawing, or just going home and just writing in a notepad,
Like a diary type thing.
or just going on like a long hike
Yeah.
just to break up the monotony of money's not just everything, but it gets you through so much different things. Because if you start thinking about the whole money of like how you just brought up of like, well, you buy this item now, that was like 2.5 hours of your shift or whatever. It's hard to really think about that.
It's hard to justify those purchases when you start thinking of things in that manner.
Well, that, and you're just gonna be like, you're gonna get depressed all the time because you're like, oh shit, man. I mean, if I felt like that, I feel bad about every
Video game you've ever bought in your life. Yeah.
Like, oh, that was like,
Well, dude,
3 hours of my shift right there.
I think about it too, and for me, I'm kind of on the other side of that coin. Whereas it's not the money that makes me mad; it's the way the system works that makes me mad.
Well, the system is just, it's flawed in so many ways, where it's like, I feel like there's those general people that like have like the dumbest idea, but they profit off that idea,
And it blows up.
I mean, I'm not a big fan of like the Paul brothers, right? But you look at, they're entertainers. That's the thing.
Yeah, they're professional jesters.
But
Yeah.
it's just like how they've gotten to that point and all the bad stuff they got caught doing when, they were just a YouTuber, right? Like
The Japanese Dead Forest.
oh, the Suicide Forest.
Yeah, the Suicide Forest. That was a big thing, dude. I low key think that got him so much publicity. Granted, it was negative publicity, but it still got him so much attention.
Yeah, and regardless of how you see attention nowadays, it's regardless if it's bad or good, it's still like profit.
Oh yeah.
I mean, like, I remember a time when NWA started coming out, and their music wasn't unlike other rap artists, and people were rioting because they're like, we're just gonna buy this CD and burn it so no one else could listen to it.
I only liked NWA because they had Ice Cube.
Oh yeah,
that's the only reason why I liked them.
Right, but I'm just saying, like, you look at that and like, let's just say they didn't like that product, so they bought that product, which gave them money, but they're just burning it.
Yeah.
They're still banking off of the sales of people.
Well, they also got ripped off real bad at the end by whatever record company. What was it, Bad Boy Records or whatever.
They got screwed over by their manager.
You seen the movie, right?
Yeah. They got screwed over by their manager.
Yeah.
And then Ice Cube got
screwed them out of the rights to their music and shit.
Well, Ice Cube got out, and then he got with another like record label deal where that manager ended up messing him over too. So it's just to say that even though these people come out and they're either not the most intelligent or, you know, the most enjoyable people to listen to, they're still banking off of either good or bad profit.
Got you.
Like,
Yeah, because publicity is publicity at the end of the day.
yeah, I mean, look at
Britney
Bad
Spears.
Barbie, where they Catch Me Outside chick, where
Oh, I hated her, dude.
oh, I,
I
I
I
can't stand her,
I
but
wish she would have been swallowed.
yeah,
She should
that's
have
deep.
been. She should have been a back shot. But like people that get famous for stupid shit like that is what gets me, dude. It's like she said one catchphrase,
Yeah.
one little phrase, and became a millionaire off of that. Same with the Hawk girl. One little catchphrase and became a millionaire. Granted, she scammed a bunch of people
Yeah.
out of like millions of dollars.
Yeah.
And did she ever get caught, by the way?
I have no
I don't
idea.
know either.
But I don't really pay too close attention to that.
Me either.
But in lines of what people do, it's just more of, it's a pride type of thing where they they don't have that that whole thing in their head where it's like they don't think or double think about things before they do it type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So for example, if I'm going out there and I'm trying to find a job, I leave out the fast food industry automatically, and I put several other things like jobs to the side just because it's more of a pride thing.
Yeah, I've never worked in fast food, so I don't know what that's like.
I don't know either.
You never worked in fast food?
No.
Oh shit!
No. Mm-mm.
I took you for a Burger King guy. I don't know why.
I
I feel like you'd look good in that Burger King crown, man. I feel like you
do.
could rock that shit.
I do.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my thing is I just really think that more the whole banking off of either good publicity or bad publicity, it's I don't know, it's gotten out of control.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like now that everything's so centered with your cell phone and you're trying your hardest to get by, and then you look and you see, just stupid shit. Like I remember when Teen Mom was a fucking thing on TV. And
I remember that shit, dude.
the crazy thing is that show, when it popped up, the pregnancy of teens went out of the roof. I don't know if you ever saw the statistics for that, but
No, I did. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
it went crazy.
Yeah, because they wanted to get on the show.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
Same thing for my 600-pound life.
mm-hmm.
So many more fatties, dude. So.
Yeah.
But no, that was another show I could not stop watching. Like whenever my 600-pound life came on, I'd just be glued to the fucking screen because I'd just be looking at these individuals and I'm like, how does that happen?
Well, I mean,
I don't think I could do that if I tried.
well, because you have to look at it as,
like an addiction, right?
well, there's addiction that's mixed in. There's genetics that are mixed in. There's depression that's mixed in. I mean, it could be literally everything. I know when I get depressed, it's like one day it looks like I'm sponsored by DoorDash because I'll be like, oh, fries will make me feel so much better right now.
I could use a Frosty right about
And then I'll get that. I'm like, that wasn't good, but maybe the fries over at this location is a lot better. So
You're like, I haven't had those ones before.
so I could understand it in many different forms, because to me it's I just get so pissed off when it's
I just need more sodium and oil in my life.
Well, I just get more upset when it's just things and where it's like, I don't know. We live in such a cruel world where I generally don't understand um why people like just, for example, I never like looked at someone and been like, oh damn, you're fat as fuck, and just started calling them out and stuff like that. And it's it's
Guilty
just
as
some,
charged.
huh?
Guilty as charged.
Yeah. Well, I don't understand it. I really don't. And then sometimes I look at it and then it's just kind of held off to like different like also standards in life. Like how reality paints a picture, and it's like, for example, you could have like a a female, right, who like looks like, a model, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's skinny, she got good teeth. What chances do you think what chances do you think she has working at a coffee shop versus, Sally that has just a little bit of an overweight issue? It's going to be more of the
Yeah.
person that's fit,
Yeah.
because they're banking
They're
off
better to
the.
look. They're banking off the ability for them to be more attractive to the eye,
Yeah, so
more
when someone
nicer to look
goes,
at.
yeah, and
Yeah.
but that it doesn't just apply there; it applies everywhere else.
Yeah.
So we got so used to,
Oh, dude.
hmm,
Um, right on that point. You remember way back in like the medieval times, royal times, where like fatter people were seen as like more beautiful and like were considered to be like in marriage were considered to be better off, healthier, happier. Uh, Kids would survive better because of like them being heavier, right? Because of food, they had the money. It means they were wealthier, right? Well, when they were skinny, they were seen as like depressed, sad, uh, you know, starving,
poor, whatever.
poor,
Yeah,
and then that trade that goes back to like where you have like that what you were speaking of, like how, and then like a few, I want to say 100 years later, the whole tuberculosis outbreak thing happened, right?
yeah.
And then everybody got super sick and skinny. And somewhere in that time, the beauty standard got switched to where it was, oh, the heavier set is no longer the beauty standard. Now it's, petite. Women were looked at to be petiter and this and that, and, jewelry. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah,
My
no,
wife told me about this today, and I was like, oh, wow, I didn't know that actually. I didn't know that it started with the first tuberculosis outbreak.
yeah. So I mean, it's just the more and more it like points to like, what is supposed to be like real, what's supposed to be fake. I mean, I even noticed when, all these stupid like reality sitcoms came out, like where you had like the Kardashians and stuff like that, where it was, or like Jersey Shore, where people are seeing how these like people talk and how they express themselves on like
Saw,
live
dude.
TV, where then that like becomes like the norm. So if you don't act like that, then you're kind of like something's going on. You're, mentally acute or whatever. It becomes a very, very bizarre.
Mentally acute, like they're like subpar,
Ye-
suboptimal.
Yeah, yeah. So
That is suboptimal.
yeah. So I mean, it's
You are
well,
retarded on the gauge.
yeah. No, like life's just retarded, bro. Like,
I love life too. Like, and I love life for the reason that it's so fucking stupid. Because it does kind of make it seem like it's like a child wrote this book.
well, it feels like that, or it could just generally feel like in a way where we see things, and to us, it's more of like it's just a fucking clown world. Nothing makes sense. and every single time you're like, is it gonna get better?
No, it's not.
Yes.
Oh, that's. I want to talk about something real fast. Like, just because it's really been on my mind and been bothering me. Um, you know me. I used to be a big Trump guy, but now I'm starting to not trust the guy. I have a weird feeling. I think he's up to something shady.
Yeah.
And John even said this to me too. He's like, "Yeah, I feel like he's doing something. There's something going on there."
Well,
And I get it. I have a weird feeling, a weird suspicion in my gut. Something's telling me something's not right.
I take it as like, I mean, you're talking to a guy that I have like different views, but I've never voted in my life.
I want to hear your views. I want you to open up to me, dude.
I want you open
I
up
want
to
you
the
to
world.
tell me how you feel, Dan.
No,
Let me in.
I just feel like it just doesn't make sense. I mean, for example, you'll have a president come in, not calling out any in particular Biden, but he'll come in and
love you.
a president will come in, set up their ground rules, right? Now things have changed. I don't know to what point it did change, right? Where like you'll have Obama come in and he'll like do these whole pardon sesh. Then it goes to the next president and they'll do a whole pardon sesh, and then the next president, and then another huge pardon set. But besides like the pardons being like getting more bigger and bigger now, is the one thing I've noticed is it's became a race who could pardon the most people.
It's become a dick measuring contest of pardons.
Yes, but like the thing that gets me is,
And one of them's measuring from the balls, I swear to God.
well, the thing that confuses me and why I don't in particularly vote is because it feels like since things can possibly always change or always be, rewritten or whatever. So like Biden will have a couple of things that he like brought up. I mean, like look at, Obama with, the whole Obamacare, right?
Mm-hmm.
You'll have these guys come in and like they'll rip and tear each of the last person's term of like what was either beneficial or not beneficial.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I just stay out of that whole game, is because to me, us as the people, we never ever get like a day off of anything. Meaning that every 2 to 4 years, we're always bickering and fighting over, what's better, blue or red,
Hey, man, the red pill or the blue pill? What's it gonna be? And my whole thing is, it's like I always say, it's two wings of the same bird, and it really is starting to feel like I will admit the last Trump term, I really did have hope. I felt like there was a spark in the air, right?
Yeah.
Like there was this energy everywhere. Everyone was, oh yeah, we got a guy in there that's finally one of us. But at the end of the day, he is still a billionaire. And he's a businessman, yada, yada, yada. But this time around, I'm no longer feeling that. I'm feeling like we have white Obama again. Like, I'm feeling like how it felt when Obama was in office.
Well, I mean, that's just, to me, it's like, as you said, they're two different feathers, but from like the same bird. It's, you're going to get someone in, and maybe he's going to be for the people, but it's not going to be everything that person brings onto the table is going to be for the people, And we already talked about how much loopholes there are in like society, where like if you got a lot of money, you could avoid, paying for taxes if you just give a little bit of money to, a cancer foundation or whatever. Any foundation, you put a little bit of money in there, you don't have to, pay taxes.
Yeah. The only problem I hate about that though is when you do those, the money you put in there, it never really goes to that foundation. The majority of that money goes to its founders, and it goes to its lobbyists.
Well, I say some things do go to that foundation. There's really good foundations that actually do, take that profit in. And
what's one that you like?
I mean, you're talking to the wrong guy about that. I just know there's some that do. Like, don't get me wrong. I've been to like small, for example, like small church groups
Mm-hmm.
where I
I've been to
only
cancer
brought
runs.
in like a little bit of money for um, for like people I know that the money would go in the pot for them to go to like a third world country and bring the word of God that people just don't know
Yeah.
that thing.
Like, what's that called? Ministry trips, or there's a
Yeah,
word for it. But
yeah. I mean, pretty much. But I'm that's just like one thing that there are some things out there where you put that money in, it's actually going to like the greater good,
yeah,
and then there's other things that where you're putting money into, and you know, Lord and behold, it's not it's not where that money is going into. I mean, for example, do you think Joel Osteen is, being like, hey, I want some like money in this like, pot to do this.
me too.
But then he shows up in like a Lamborghini and you're like,
Yeah.
hey, this is
Look
suspicious.
at look at my Rolls Royce. I need money.
Yeah. So but that's just the thing. Like
you
as we like
know,
both talked about is there's scrummy people out there that there's like so many loopholes, right?
mm-hmm.
I mean, you could see someone that is homeless outside, you could give that person money,
Mm-hmm.
and then you'll have that thing in your like head where you're like, oh, I did something good. So when you always see someone that looks homeless, you're giving them money, and then all of a sudden, you know, when it like 8 hours later, they hop into a car that's nicer than yours and you just drive
Yeah.
off.
Well, dude, I watched a documentary about that yesterday. Apparently, fucking homeless people make more money than us.
Well, yeah, because
There was a guy
I
in a
mean,
wheelchair pretending to have a disability going around. He's like, and the reporter was like, "Hey, we know this is a fucking act. Quit faking it." He's like, you caught me." He's like, I'm actually glad you blew me up because, he's like, I want to tell people like, he's like, I make good money doing this. He's like, I clear $100,000 a year easy. I'm just like, God damn, I need a wheelchair.
because I mean, even a person that got like $20, that's $20 more profit that you got because it's not garnished from like taxes and
Woo wee, get me a wheelchair.
yeah, so
Give me a fucking cane and a goddamn torn up pair of pants and a sign.
right.
But
Uh,
like, oh, I wanted to jump back to cancer for a second. Like when we're talking about donations and charities, uh, Harvard and a few other prestigious schools are starting to go back on their cancer research. They're starting to say that the way we're treating cancer is not the way we're supposed to be treating cancer. Apparently, cancer is not what we think it is. Cancer is actually the body's natural way of protecting itself from toxins. So, like, when they have a group of cancer cells in an area,
yeah,
what those cancer cells are actually doing are preventing mutated cells from spreading. They surround the mutated cell and keep it in one place. So when we pump the body full of chemo and radiation, what does that do? It mutates other cells all
yeah,
around the body. And then we have metastases. Well, they're starting to say now, how we need to actually be treating cancer is with homeopathic remedies or like natural things that I wouldn't say natural things. That's the wrong terminology. What was the terminology that the researcher used? He said there's actually a certain enzyme that they're discovering now, or a chemical or enzyme that actually helps break down the mutated cells that start that process, and it's phypolifizine or something like that, some type of chemical. But yeah, apparently, I wanted to add that tidbit because I found that fascinating, and it kind of makes sense if you think about it.
I
I mean, what happens when you pump the body full of radiation and chemo? Go stand next to a nuclear reactor and see how many mutated cells you get. You know what I mean?
yeah. I mean, as I said, there's like everything in reality that like you intake is going to be like a different like fill. I mean, you look at depression medication, right? Where like
Yeah.
there's not just one pill that's just gonna make someone happy. So it's not like I go in with like depression and they could suggest a billion different like products to try because the thing is one pill isn't going to make you feel like
You're brand new again.
brand new again.
It takes time.
It takes time. The thing that gets me, and it's always like scary, is like I always for like a thing. It was more of I always looked at some things where is it fake? Is it not fake? I can't say that. It's just weird to me how there's so many different like medicines out there under that umbrella.
The only reason why I brought up the cancer thing was because it was fucking Harvard, dude. And Harvard's like a big pharma, thing. So the fact that they're coming out with research papers now saying, "Oh, we need to stop this. Like, we're actually doing more harm than we're doing good." Like,
Well, like
um,
define harm, and good. I'm not saying like it was ever a good idea to be like, hey,
let's put all these chemicals and
yeah,
radiation up in you. Let's put a,
let's do like chemo and all this,
uh,
but it's just, for example, um when they've been like, I mean, they've been studying weed for like so long, right? And
God, I love weed. Just kidding.
there's some times where it's like someone has like, let's just say
Seizures.
interesting like, yeah, seizures are interesting like disability, and it's not
Parkinson's.
Parkinson's,
Yeah.
and it's not the same for like every single person. you know as I said, your body's going to like react different every single time.
Yeah.
But I've seen like a video where this kid just had like nonstop like seizures,
Mm-hmm.
and like he couldn't. He just got like just too ramped up, and I
So he was
believe,
having like grand mal seizures, like really thrusty ones.
yeah, like really thirsty ones, or like it was just constant where like he couldn't like live normally,
Yeah.
and going through so many like appointments and medications
It's a
to
lot of
make him
stress.
feel better.
Yeah.
uh the parent decided to put it's those like those uh what do you call them, the uh the liquid like THC droplets or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and he
Mm-hmm.
like dropped a few in his son's mouth, and his son it's like he acted normal
Wasn't
for
this
a
like
while.
an 8 to 10 year old kid or
Yeah,
something like that? Yeah. Because I seen one very much similar, same kind of deal. A man about in his 40s, 50s with really bad Parkinson's. Right. This guy could not stop shaking to fucking save his life, dude.
yeah,
And one day they found out a little bit of THC, and he was able to have motor function again, dude.
yeah. Now,
Like,
right, and I'm not saying like that right there is going to be cure for that in particular thing,
yeah, it's not a
but
cure; it's a band-aid.
I mean, I'm just saying like, as they said for like depression medication, right? Where one might work for you, but out of the other, 100,000 people, this will not work. You
Yeah,
know,
I've never been on any type of like any type of psych meds or anything like that. Other than when I was a kid, I was on Adderall for a bit.
yeah,
But that's because they thought I had ADHD, and my dad didn't like the way it made me act, so he took me off it. He's like, "No, I don't want you taking that shit," because he said it made me weird like a zombie, and he didn't like it. He's like, I don't recognize you when you're on that shit."
right. And that's just the thing that's weird is Adderall in itself is just pretty much a
Pill form meth.
yeah. I
Well,
mean,
it's with people with ADHD, it does the opposite.
mhm.
So someone like me, which I probably do have ADHD, it's just I leave it untreated because I like the way I like the way that I am. You know, I'm happy with myself.
Well,
You
yeah.
know,
Well, then it's like the same thing as like trying to conquer out like your like let's say
I'm dyslexic. I have asthma, and I'm smoking a cigarette right now.
cheers, cheers.
Cheers. Hey.
But I mean, I've had like depression for like many years, and I've tried several different like depression medications, and over time, I stopped taking medication because my whole thing was, you know, is this pill here is like it feels weird as saying as like any addiction or form of life where oh I can't go without a day without a cigarette, right, or vice versa. I got out of the whole the whole being lab tested rat getting like different depression medication every so often because I felt like it wasn't working. And then the some that were working, I was like, okay, is it changing my,
You're more like a fucking raccoon, dude.
yeah. Well, I felt like it was
those grubby
changing
little
more of
hands.
like, are these actually, my feelings, or are these like subjugated from like a pill,
Do those medications ever make you have weird thoughts?
I mean, every medication, makes you have like weird thoughts.
Well, I wouldn't know. I can't take a lot of them because I have a really sensitive stomach. Like opiates, I can't take opiates.
Oh, you poor baby.
Yeah, dude, I can't. Every time I've tried, I just throw up, dude.
Yeah. No, it's the way I look at it is I see it as some things where um some pills like that are depression medication. Some will make you more depressed, which is funny to me. Some will make you
Paxil or
not
Zoloft.
want to like eat a whole bunch so it can mess with like
Well, fuck, depression can do that too.
well, yeah. But I mean, or like some could just constantly, make you gain more and more weight because you're just not as, energetic or whatever.
Yeah.
I just find it as very, very interesting. And I'm not saying for the general public to be like, oh, this is all like a scam, I'm going to stop. If you find something that's actually working, stick with it.
I mean, for me, I live by a motto. The famous George Carlin once said, "It's all bullshit and it's bad for you."
Yeah.
Yeah, I live by that motto.
The guy's a fucking legend.
He's fucking amazing. I'm sad. I got so sad when he died.
I did too, because the more you listen to him now is like, was he just a person that was just being 100% real, but he decided to have like a comedian aspect to hide behind to say what he wanted to say?
Dude, no, he was just ahead of the time, bro. He knew what the fuck was going on, bro. He saw right through all the bullshit, man.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like he kind of like made this thing as I'm gonna say whatever I want to say, and I could throw like a few jokes and or whatever in there, just to make
Batshit, dirty old twat.
Yeah.
65 assholes tied in a knot. Yay, lizard shit. Fuck.
Yeah. Well, he was just an interesting guy because like he said what a lot of people always just if they never really thought about it, at some point in the line you're thinking like, what the fuck is the purpose,
And I loved how he was real about God too. Like he wasn't afraid to speak his mind on that. Remember when he had the whole thing about, what makes you think every single person goes to heaven? Maybe Grandpa's down in hell right now, screaming up at us. Like, it's so fucking real, dude. He was such a real one.
Yeah.
And
there's
screaming up at us.
it's just funny. There's just so much people like that though that could say like things that are real, but the way he did it and the way like he was able to like bring this to like the masses was just crazy. Which I didn't know. Like he actually has like two films on HBO Max.
He does. Yep.
About his whole what is this like documentary of his
Yep.
life.
Yep. It was the
Really
last
good.
thing he. I think those were the last two things he did before he died.
Mm-hmm.
They were the last two projects he was working on because I think he knew his death was coming soon. At the end, didn't he have?
Well, I mean, one, he was an old guy.
He was old. He was in his 80s.
And then we all have to look here too is that life is just so unexpected too, where I mean, sometimes I don't even see people like make it in their 70s.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
Do the men in your family have long legs?
I don't know, man.
You don't know? Oh, well, for me, all the men in my family live into their 80s.
Yeah, I try not to. Like,
I'm gonna get hit by a car though, probably.
Post it up at work.
Yeah. No, I actually had a dream years back that I died by I got set on fire, dude. Like I died by fire.
Maybe that was your past.
I was like, it was a
life,
fucking
maybe you
premonition
just
or
got-
something, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. It freaked me out. I thought I saw into the future like fucking Anakin Skywalker, dude. I was seeing premonitions.
Yeah, that's deep.
Yeah.
I like having those dreams where it kind of feels like deja vu, where like let's say like I'll be working and then something will happen where my brain will like go into like a paranoia state where like I start to like drift off and I'm like, wait, this happened in my dream. That fucking cat right there was in my dream.
Yeah, dude. And you get that weird like feeling where you're like, ding. Start like everything starts like you start paying attention.
Or you feel like you see someone and you feel like you know them, and it's just like maybe like the off chance that it was like something that was going on in a dream.
Yeah.
Like, or have you ever had those like dreams where like you're flying around like fucking Superman, and then all of a sudden like you get startled like in your sleep, and it feels like your body was actually levitating because
when you're levitating in your bed.
Yeah,
dude.
That's to me. That's the weird.
That's
shit.
just you secretly being possessed. You're just
Or
you're like
maybe-
you're like haunted house getting fucked by a ghost.
Or maybe I was just like an inch closer to like breaking through something, and I realized I had a fucking superpower.
Your third eye was almost open.
Yeah.
And then you got scared.
Yeah, I got scared. I was like, oh no, this ain't real.
You were about to astral project.
Oh yeah. Man.
No, I had a fucked up dream one time where I was my wife. I was in like this weird like neighborhood like suburb type thing, but I couldn't get out of it. And every time I tried, it would put me right back.
Yeah.
And like I was trying to find my wife, but there was like thousands of clones of her, and I was trying to find the right one. And every time I would go to her, then I would grab her shoulder to turn her around. It'd be like she would go, just disappear like dust, like Thanos snapped into fucking air.
Jesus fucking Christ.
And I was like, and I woke up sweaty as shit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, she's right there next to me. Thank God.
Yeah. Right.
like I was married this whole time. She's actually real.
I just find so much things to just at somewhere down the line something has to make sense, and there's so many things that happen that just don't make sense, but then they fit in. That's like weird.
The puzzle piece you were missing.
Well, that's why I love The Matrix so much, man. That when I grew up off those movies. I will never call the fourth one a part of The Matrix. That fucking movie just pissed me off.
There's a company out there that uses human brain material for that they're mixed into computers, and they believe that they're sentient, and they actually train them. They have the mental capacity of like a newborn baby. And people say like, oh, but there's a simulation that they have of a butterfly. So when they're not using the computing power of the brain cells, they're just in the simulation of a butterfly. So what if that's secretly what, like, whenever we daydream or we're in like a state of like where you drift off, what if it's just you're in the simulation when nobody's using, or like that's somebody else using your mental capacity.
That's what's weird. Is
What
like
if we're in the Matrix right now?
There's some people out there that I've talked to, and like they don't like have dreams at all. Are there's people that do believe like they dream, but they can't like remember what their dream was. Mm-hmm. Like I know people that would have like a journal like next to like their bed. I'm like, what the hell is that? You know, your little dirty secret notebook there. Like oh no, this is like a book of my dreams. So like, there's people that remember like 100% of their dreams.
I fucking hate when you wake up and you can't remember it.
I get pissed off because some of my dreams, I go on these like amazing fucking journeys where like I'll wake up for whatever reason. I'm like, nah, I have to fucking finish this bitch, and then I'll force my way to sleep.
I can never get back to it though.
Yeah,
I can never get back to it.
See, that's weird because I'm the type of person where like
you can jump right back into your dream.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe that's your fucking superpower.
Yeah, maybe I should be like sleeping all the time.
Yeah, you're the dreamer, dude.
Well, and I think it's weird because like, what happens if you're dreaming? You're actually like living like your other, you know.
I just had a surreal thought. Finish yours and then I'll fucking.
I mean, it's just crazy. Like, imagine if you're like the time that you like work and do all that stuff. You know, normally how it's supposed to be is like your sleep and your work is like on the same like time length a little bit, right? Yeah. So like, let's say when you're sleeping, you're living in a different alternate like universe as a different cell of yourself.
Oh, that's fucked up. Yeah. That's fucked. That's awesome. I also had to say that. So do you think like, what happens if you fucking die in your dream? Like, actually fully on die? Because, like, remember when I told you about the fire dream? Mm. In that dream, I was on fire, and I knew I was going to die, but I didn't die yet, and I woke up from it. I was about to die. Like, it was like that moment where you're like, yeah, you turn in, and I woke up. But what happens if you finish, like, you climax at death? Do you fucking wake up?
Well, that's just the thing. Is
you like, go into a coma.
Right? Well, I mean, I think it's interesting because, like, let's say that's just another, like, you know, like, let's say you throw in, like, there's, like, a million different yous in different universes that you transcended to one of them that did die. That got fucked. So you're not gonna go back to that. You're gonna like
you're like some Mussolini in India that fell off a building.
You were on planet like fucking Z. Now, whenever you go back to bed, you're gonna be over at planet G, living up this guy's fucking that Keith's life.
Yeah, planet Zorp over there. Fucking.
But I mean, that's kind of interesting.
That's fucked up, dude. You're dreaming and you're just actually somebody else. Mm-hmm. And that's, like, is it you, though? Or are you just seeing through somebody else's eyes? Like, what if like, all of our consciousnesses are connected and we just don't realize we are? And we're able to tap into somebody else's consciousness and see what they're doing through their eyes. We just aren't aware that we're doing it.
Some Harry Potter shit.
I'm not high enough for this. I feel like we need some shrooms right now or something.
Oh, no, that would make the rabbit hole go a little bit deeper. But no.
What does it all mean?
But I just think that's crazy. I mean, just imagine though if that was just a little bit of like the truth right there, that you're just like. For one, maybe it is that you're tapped into, like, we're all tapped into one part of a stem and we just don't even know it.
We're all branches of it.
Or, like, let's say on the other side note, what happens if it's just another you know.
Like an alternate reality.
Alternate reality. Or maybe it's just the time that you're going through this sleep, your dreams, that you're living is actually what you're supposed to be doing. But
I'm supposed to be on fire?
Probably, bro. No, we'll just say you just tapped into someone else. But I'm just saying, like, for example, like, let's say if you're going through this like deep sleep,
REM.
what happens if you're like actually disconnected while you're like sleeping? So like, let's say that when you're awake, that's when like the machine's on and it's like a censoring machine, so it's like censoring everything. But then when you're asleep, the machine kind of loses track because your BPMs and all that are off track when you get into that deep sleep.
Your whole body slows down.
So the machine's like, all right, we're going to go power saving mode and wait for him to get close to waking up.
Yeah.
And then we're going to like control like more of the system of how we want things to run. So maybe we are fucking living in a simulation.
I have another thing I want you to think about. So, you ever been like where you're in bed and you're asleep, right? And your body randomly just goes... you're in bed, you're asleep, and your body randomly just goes, like, you could be dreaming even, and your body just goes, and you're like you get like jolted awake.
Yeah.
What if that is like you were about to leave your body, like you were about to like physically separate, and your body's like, I don't like that, come back.
Yeah.
It's pulling you back. Yeah, like. That's a thought I've had, like that. Me and my wife have also had many deep conversations about that because she went through a phase where she like wanted to learn how to astral project, and I started thinking about like fucking the further and shit, and I'm like, that's not a good idea. Let's stay in our bodies where it's safe. I'm like, because I'm like, I mean, if you believe in darker forces, or I mean, I believe in there's dark forces at work all around us all the time, but it's a matter of, do they manifest themselves in a form of an entity that could take control of you?
Some like demon possession.
Demon, extraterrestrial, fucking ET phone home, bro. Like, it's probing time.
Fucking finger in the butt.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He makes it start glowing and shit.
Honestly, it's so weird to me because even going through certain things in like life, and we're thrown so much different things in like movies, like, yeah, I mean, there's so many movies that have to deal with like, that person like running into like their clone, right?
Yes,
and, like, what would happen?
Yes.
Or like we'll get,
there was what was the movie with Tom Cruise? Where the one where he's like, they're on that weird planet and they're like protecting it with those spaceship, those plane things, and he crashes down.
I think I know what you're talking
about.
I
just can't think of the name of the movie.
Morgan Freeman.
Morgan Freeman was in it. That one blonde chick was in it with the short bobbed hair. She was in the one that was like the same lady that was in the movie about like the one that would rob the money from old people and then make them crazy and put them in an institution. Yeah. She was the same lady.
Yeah, I know what movie. Was it Oblivion?
Oblivion, you're right. Yeah, it was Oblivion, yeah. Was that movie based off the game, or is that just a separate thing?
That's separate. Bro.
Okay, I don't know.
It's 100% totally. Yeah. Oblivion's more fantasy RPG.
Okay, gotcha.
The movie was more of like
sci-fi. Okay, gotcha.
But I find it interesting that, we have all these like different movies that like pinpoint like certain things where we're like, oh, that's very, very interesting.
That feels familiar.
And now we're like getting to that like point where, you look at Back to the Future and then they're like coming out with, teleportation could be a fucking thing. And I'm like, God damn it. And like,
give me some of that ultra instinct right now.
So I feel like everything like they show, it's like, yeah, I mean, the Hollywood's been getting people prepped and everything for the realization that aliens do exist.
Oh yeah, and then they finally drop the bomb. Like, we have them. We have a couple of them.
And then like society itself, they're like worried because they're like, oh well, if they do this, and this, how's the world gonna react? And then when they bring out the news, people are like, yeah, we just fucking knew about it. We just don't care anymore.
They just roll it out in the glass.
We're so domiciled by this point, we're just not shocked by anything anymore.
I'm just waiting for the day in like a White House press briefing for them to just roll out the motherfuckers in a glass case and be like, yeah, we've had these for 30 years.
Yeah. I mean, it's all true to a point because you look at technology and you look at this and I mean and the way on how like the universe is supposed to be like fucking
Infinite.
yeah. That's an infinite amount of possibilities. I mean, shit. Wasn't it
They've already found 6 planets that are exactly identical to Earth.
well like have you ever saw the movie I believe it was called Mars
Yeah.
and like how they found that Mars some point in time it had actual water.
Well, yeah, they found traces of water now.
Yeah,
It's deeply frozen.
Yeah, so in their hypothesis, it's like, okay, if there's water, then there once was life. Because, I mean, you can't have one without the other.
The water they found on Mars was, I think it's called O3.
Yeah.
It's living water, so it's mostly hydrogen, but it's still classified water.
Yeah, but, I mean, that's just the thing, though, is like, with an infinite amount of possibilities and so many planets
I said that wrong. Mostly oxygen.
Yeah, mostly oxygen.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, there's an infinite amount of possibilities that, like, and, what's classified as an alien is someone that's just not formally, like, oh, yeah.
My tummy, dude.
My tummy. But I'm just saying, like, it's more of, like, it's just an infinite amount of possibility. There's just too many.
I can't wait till we have it though. I can't wait till we have all the technology and everybody can use it. Like, could you imagine if we had like those? What movie was it where they had those generator machines where they can literally just punch a thing into a machine? It would just like out of atoms of air, it would make cake.
Yeah, I would get too carried away with that. I would just,
You'd abuse the shit out of that.
Well, yeah, I would be like
money.
I wouldn't even be money. I would be like, hey, bring back the good old Pizza Hut that I grew up as a kid.
No, for me it's fucking Papa John's, bro. I miss the good days when Papa John's tasted good.
Yeah.
We don't have a Papa John's anymore.
Well, we don't have Papa John's. We don't have Godfather's Pizza. We're just fucked here.
They took away all. We
got enough McDonald's to make you happy, though.
Too bad there's human meat in that. That's another rabbit hole we need to go down.
Well, I mean,
yeah. Every time they test the meat at McDonald's, there's traces of human meat in it. So there's a conspiracy going around that they're putting human meat in the fast food chain meat.
Well, you do realize out of the 1,000,000 hot dogs that you've eaten in your life, one of them contained human meat.
Oh, I'm sure. Pig dicks and assholes, probably it's probably there's a chicken or two in there.
Yeah. No, I watched a documentary about like hot dogs and everything, and realizing that back then the work order in the food industries was a lot different. So like during like Great Depression times and so forth, where the rules and stuff that they have at workplaces are a lot more stricter. Back then it wasn't. So yeah. I mean, someone that like cut their finger off or whatever, do you think they stopped the line and
found that finger?
Well,
where's Freddy's finger?
Well, no, it's just like to the point where they're like, okay, we're gonna stop the line and like we're going to decontaminate everything. They just don't do that, right? But back then they did because they had to fill that work order.
Well, the main thing that I'm thinking of right now is a few years, I think it was 2 years ago, a lady sued the shit out of McDonald's and won because while they were eating McDonald's one night, there was a fucking baby tooth in her burger. Like a literal baby tooth.
Yeah. I don't know. All that shit's weird to me when it comes to those things just because I'm not saying it's false, it's true. But I've seen, like, different shit. Like, a guy tried to sue Mountain Dew because he's like, this rat was in my Mountain Dew.
I seen it in the can.
And, yeah. And Mountain Dew came out, and this is what, like...
How the fuck did a rat get in the can?
No, like, their thing was even more weirder, because it's like... they're like, yeah, that's not possible. And they're like, what do you mean? They're like, our drink is so potent that if that were true, there would be no rat because it would have.
Dissolved said rat.
Yeah, it's also rat. And I'm like, fuck, man. This shit is what
It would
we're
have
like.
just been a little rat flavored.
Yeah. Well, and I think about it, it's like let's say the Munster cans and stuff that we drink. I've seen people like fill up two things, like one of like just natural basic cleaner, and then they'll have like.
So you're telling me the whole time Breaking Bad they could have just bought Mountain Dew? And
Well, I just say, well, no, I'm just saying like some things are like just.
So acidic that it just breaks shit down over time.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen people to clean shit with just pouring a little bit of Munster on it, and then just, oh yeah, that works a lot better than this set product.
Are you saying Monster?
Yes.
Oh, my bad. I thought you were saying Munster, like the cheese.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No.
I've seen that with Coca-Cola too. Them using Coca-Cola and it'll like strip rust right off of tools and stuff or whatever, metal.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking, what does that do to your insides, dude?
Right.
Yeah. If it can strip rust off of metal, then maybe we probably shouldn't be ingesting it? Question mark,
Well, I mean, there's a lot of things that we could break through and, like, talk about. And, yeah, I mean, it's like this red M&M right there. How much chemicals are in that?
Oh, my fucking God. I grabbed the red one and I didn't even look, dude.
And there goes cancer.
Yum, yum, yum.
But I mean, that's just the thing. It's just, what's in the product that we're eating or drinking. And
By what month are we in right now?
I don't fucking know, man.
May, right? May now?
No, we're still in April.
Son of a bitch. April takes forever.
April needs to fucking hurry the fuck up.
But anyway, I think it's by June of next year. Washington, D.C. has mandated for all major food corporations and manufacturers to remove practically all of these fucking chemicals. So, like Red 40, the yellow, blue 5, 6, all the, like, the monocitrates, like the palm oils, all of that shit, by next June has to be removed from all foods. We're going to be, there are foods essentially are going to be like how, like in Europe, like Iceland, Greece, Sweden, all those countries, how their food is super, like, clean.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like how it's pretty much like saying our Subway here in the States, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where it's not considered bread that they're using, right? Because to other places, they
it's
broke it
Nutriloaf.
down. They're like, this is actually, to us, this would be considered as cake because of how much, calories are actually in the bread and everything.
Our bread here versus their countries is a lot more dense, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just, everything's different. Which also brings up the whole, like, other discussion of, like, why doesn't the U.S., like, help starving countries more? It's because a lot of places don't want the stuff that we have because it's not naturally healthy.
It secretly makes you retarded and gay. Is what it secretly does.
What are you trying to tell me here?
Now we're both retarded and gay. No, I'm kidding. But no, like, Alex Jones said it first. So, I mean, and that guy... I have a theory. So, like, when someone goes after, like, big companies or they spit truth for a long time, like, he was sued for so much money, like, attacked non-stop, right? And I think, I low-key think, like, think of the eyes of a corporation, wink, wink, that when you start getting on them, how they start retaliating and saying you're the problem, when you know that damn well ain't true.
Well, I mean, it's...
Start pointing out the wrongs.
Well, I know where you're going with. It's like...
Yeah.
Because Alex Jones has brought out some very eye-opener, interesting things.
Yeah.
But I feel like if you're going so deep into that rabbit hole, not, like...
I've been deep, dude.
Oh, yeah.
I've been deep.
I feel like there's points where like things that he did try to come out with later in his life or tackle that he just should have stayed the fuck out of it, because a lot of like the newer stuff got him in a lot of fucking trouble because it wasn't true.
Yeah.
Like when he was trying to tackle about like the whole like Sandy Hook and all that. You go to the school shootings that were
Yeah.
going on, saying, "Oh, they were paid actors," and then coming to realize, because this was when he was sued,
Yeah.
and he lost a lot of like, you know.
To be honest, though, Sandy Hook was kind of fishy. The way that went down was kind of suspicious.
Well, anything that goes down could be like suspicious. You could sit here and talk about how 9/11 sounds more like a cover up. But the thing that makes it hard is you have to be very special or very careful, especially on talking about it or attacking it from an angle, because my thing is people really did die.
Yeah.
That's the thing that got him in trouble, was he was pressuring, the parents
To want to open investigation, or
Well, no, like just he got to a point where he was like attacking such parents, like how, well, this video is fabricated in some way, and
I'm gonna get to the bottom of this.
well, he got
Rabble,
sued
rabble, rabble.
because I mean, it's just the way he was attacking it was more of like, those kids really did die. Those families, sons and daughters did die.
Remember 10, 15 years ago when he broke into the Bohemian Grove when they were doing that weird ritual? There was like hundreds of people there, and he ran into fucking George Soros. He's like, "Hey, George Soros, how are you doing?" He was all trying to interview him, and then they kicked his ass out.
Well, yeah, because...
Think about the occult shit, man.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, that's a...
That's real, and it's a whole different topic. But that's where you start getting into like the weird, like where you start kind of verging the line of theology.
Well, I mean, if you tackle that, then you're gonna like look at all the smaller things, like the...
That's what I mean when I went deep.
Is it Harvard Skull and Bones?
Yep, Skull and Bones, Bush, the Clintons.
Yeah, so
that one guy that was a part of it, that was whistleblowing on all them, and he ended up getting killed, suicide by 2 gunshots to the head.
Yeah. Like you look at, and from there you can go ahead and jump onto the
CIA, FBI favorite.
Yeah, or you could just jump on to be like, you could classify the whole Mickey Mouse Club, like for the kids, as
the kids disappearing at Disneyland, like that shit.
Well, like, like how I think it was Justin Timberlake was a part of it, Britney Spears was a part of it when they were like really young.
Ashton Kutcher, him too.
Yeah, they were all part of it. Like,
I get where you're going. You're talking about the Disney actor star.
Like,
okay, the kid stars. Okay.
Well, you could like paint that as like a cult, a part of like Disney, versus like how you look at Harvard Skull and Bones.
It's not Disney though. It's Hollywood, and Hollywood is an adjacent part of Disney. It's connected, and we all know that there is a huge component that is pedophilic and sexually deviant to Hollywood. It's obvious.
Well, yeah.
And and that's where they started doing all that investigation, and they were finding all this weird shit. And when we live in the age of technology where it's so hard to hide anything now, we started catching little glimpses of it. We started seeing, pattern recognition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's why, like, I feel like there's a lot of people that try to keep their whole mind away from a lot of that stuff. Like, I feel like a lot of people know what's going on, but
I like the pain, because the pain is the truth.
Well, I think it's to a point now that since everything is so like broke up into so many boxes, and like how we're so divided as people in the nation, where we just can't come to a point to fight this system, right? Because like, let's say, oh well, we're going to stop doing this, we're going to stop doing that. Well, baby's got to eat. You know,
Yeah. Baby's
it's,
got to eat.
you,
Bills got to get paid.
yeah.
Car
So
needs gas.
the car needs gas. So I don't think people could ever come to agreement where they're going to do like this whole, Wall Street March thing.
The only way that we could actually do that is if we stopped playing by the entire system, where we basically, the only way we could actually revolt like that would be to completely throw it into anarchy, where we, until we fix it the way it needs to be fixed, that we feel like is the right way. I'm not saying me or you. I'm saying as like a human like a objective. We would have to be to where like we are the lawmakers now, and we outnumber police, government, military 10-1 every day easily.
Yeah, but the problem is we're so like divided.
We're also so complacent.
Yeah, I mean,
I like my couch.
Well,
I like my
it's
TV.
Well, it's just like the theory you brought up. The whole Matrix. Red pill or blue pill. Are you Democratic? Are you Republican? And it gets to a point where one person might view someone differently. So someone could look at Trump way differently than Biden, right? And then they could be like, well, this guy has some view aspects that I like, so they get on that. So I feel like people can't ever come together as a huge, huge group because as a society, for how long we've been going with, every single president election, we're so divided in what we intake. So us as a culture can never come on the same page because every 4 years we're set differently. Every 2 years we're set differently. So for example, this thing's going on right now where the whole Trump administration is, taking a lot of like the illegals and like how, let's say, Target and other businesses are making that whole like racial stance. I don't know too much about it.
Well, just tell me what you do know.
What I do know is that from like a point going on to like, the social media or X, formerly known as, Twitter,
Mm-hmm.
I'm seeing people that are like boycotting, like going to Target, going here, going there, doing this, thinking that they're going to stop this huge corporate, agenda from like doing what they're doing. But the problem is that this is $1 billion industry. So people that have that mindset, and I agree with a lot of people where I'm like, yeah, I want things to be better for civilization, not just better for one culture in general. I want things better as a whole for all humanity. But the problem is it's like if we're going to tackle this system and we're saying, okay, well, let's all not go work for a day. Well, how are hospitals going to run? And
I think that would be the point, though.
Yeah, or
people, there would have to be, in order for it to work, there would have to be necessary sacrifices.
Yeah, but I mean, what are you willing to put those sacrifices on that table? Because my thing is that I just had a daughter, right? She has to eat, right?
Yeah.
That's the thing. Or what happens if
that's where it'd have to be
really sick?
See, that's where it'd have to be a coordinated attack where planning was involved.
Oh yeah, but I would just say
it'd have to be a globally. That's the problem and realistically, it wouldn't take that many of us. It would take maybe a couple, like 2 to 3 million. That's all it would take.
Yeah, I don't really see it happening because we're so divided and far from each other, and it's all like, written on a piece of paper, right? So it's like, what are the main things you're not supposed to talk about? Like when you're at work, you're not supposed to talk about religion. Is one thing.
Race and politics.
Yeah, you're supposed to keep that fucking shit out. Like,
but I love racing.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, like, there's scenes that, like, I mean, there was a time where, I'm a farm boy, so, like, I called people by sir or ma'am, and then there was a point where it's like, hey, you can't say that anymore. Or like, hey, it's Christmas time. there's a lot of people that get offended when you say, "Oh, Merry Christmas," you know.
I don't want to. I don't. Well, Juan, for instance, he was like he got someone yelled at him one time because he addressed them thinking they spoke Spanish, and he's like, nah, dude, I speak English, bro, and he's just like, oh, I'm sorry, like he's like,
Oh yeah,
I was like, damn, dude.
So, but that's my big thing is we're so divided in so many like boxes and categories where I feel like no matter what, people we can't be on a point where we could like fight the system. The system is too big.
You need to take the whole system, throw it in the fucking trash can, and start over.
I mean, I would love for that to actually happen, but I know deep down
In your
that
heart of hearts.
yes, I feel like it's too impossible.
Well,
like
the thing
the dream's there. Don't get me wrong.
I think it'll happen. Not in our lifetime, maybe, but it will eventually happen. There's got to come a point.
The resistance of my children's children.
It's going to become like us versus the Terminators, but the Terminators is actually the elite ruling class. Yeah. And that's what I think it is. I don't even think it's the government, dude. I think it's the elite ruling class that corrupts and obstructs and controls said government to impose things on us that benefit said ruling class. It's a circle.
Yeah.
And so it's really us versus the elite ruling class. It's us versus the millionaires, billionaires, trillionaires, the ones that secretly own everything. I'm talking Bilderberger Group, BlackRock, Rockefeller, Rothschild. I'm talking those. I'm talking old money. I'm talking the central banking system. That's what actually runs things. Yeah. It's not the government.
Yeah.
It's fucking BlackRock. It's fucking, it's the goddamn big pharma. That's those are who run shit.
Yeah.
It's not our government. Our government's a pawn to their scheme.
Yeah, but
lobbyists.
We all know like money's the true root of evil. So how would you tackle like the whole money thing? Because
there's a trend. There's a trend starting right now. Another big CEO just got stabbed, like a whole bunch of times. So first it was the Luigi Mangione guy.
Oh yeah, who assassinated
that healthcare company or insurance company CEO, and now another guy somewhere in Michigan just stabbed the CEO of this big corporation like 3 or 4 times.
Jesus.
So my pattern recognition is kicking in, and there's a trend starting that I am kind of for. Because I my heart wants to bleed out the corruption, but at the same time,
it's so hard though, because then that's where you become like judge, jury, and law.
Does it make me a martyr?
Well, I mean, the thing is just like this is like, what happens if that guy is not even like
the guy?
The guy. He's not bad.
He's not Gus Fring.
That's where everything's like becomes so like confusing. Even like hearing about people that are like locked up behind bars and then they've been wrongfully, accused, and they spent like almost their whole or over half their life in the prison system, right? Then they come back to like fucking, if they're lucky enough to join our hooligan nation, how can you come back from that, Yeah,
you know what I think? I think we should bring back public executions, public hangings, for political corruption, financial corruption.
But that's just the thing. Who becomes like, the judge, jury, and law, because
treason.
Because if something is 100% like concrete, like fucking truth, like that person fucking did this fucking heinous crime, then okay, then
we have the records.
But
fucking kill him. Fucking kill him.
It's like, have you ever seen the movie Minority Report?
Yes.
Tom Cruise, where like the whole thing is someone, before they do like a fucking heinous crime, they get that fucking a fucking marble comes down, and you could see them doing this heinous crime before they do it, so like they could prevent it, But then
almost like a seeing glass.
yeah, well, it's like a glass eye or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
That
like a
person.
crystal ball type
Yeah,
shit.
so you
Yeah.
could see someone before they kill like their missus or do something that is going to like before they commit that fucking heinous crime that breaking the law, they see it where they could prevent it. And then you're thinking, oh, this is a fucking awesome fucking concept idea. But then it gets to a point where you're like, oh, well, then that was heavily manipulated to where they could actually fake images in there and you're actually killing someone that never fucking did any fucking heinous crime
Yeah.
at all.
Oopsies.
Yeah.
Fuck it, my bad. I didn't mean it, bro. It was a joke.
Right?
It was a prank. Freaking, yeah, no, I think, well, dude, it used to be that way. Treason, like, okay, I hold this stance very highly. I do not think anyone who is a public servant in any form of our government, it should any way have any dual citizenship with any other country. That's one stance I hold very highly. If you're running our government
Yeah.
for our country, why do 80% of our government have dual citizenship with Israel?
Very, very true.
Why? Isn't that not a slippery slope on a bloody covered hill?
Yeah. I don't know. It's just, it's so weird to me. And usually I honestly hate thinking about all this shit because
I find it fascinating.
I like there's a part that is fascinating, but then I hate it because I don't like thinking like, oh well, there's falsely hope type of thing where you're thinking like the odds are too fucking great. You're thinking like you're in a fucking football fucking game and the score is already like 200 million to maybe 1, right?
Yeah.
Like the odds are fucking horrible.
You ain't coming. It's like, how do you come back from it?
Yeah, I
And
mean, so it's like we could generally have the thoughts of like, what's wrong, what's right, and then there's the times where some people that are right or wrong, or what they see right and wrong could be altered to the point where maybe what they're thinking is wrong isn't wrong or right, but we're so heavily like to the point where our minds can't get on that like length to where me and you could have a proper discussion about religion. We could have a proper discussion about politics. I mean, we could have proper talks about each and every single president either running in the race
well,
for
that's
the
because we
next one.
respect each other's opinions.
Yeah.
And we can actually talk as adults.
Yeah. But like there's some people that are like,
Can't fucking handle it.
Feminism, fucking this, fucking racist, fucking. It's just like nah. Like
That's not what we're saying.
I wish that there were more people that could actually discuss like this, and instead of just being like pressing the red button already for like destruction,
Yeah.
And that's
Where's
where
the nuclear launch codes?
and that's where I have a feeling where like there's some people out there that have that thing where they're like, okay, well everything's fucked, everything's always going to be fucked,
Yeah.
so I'm just going to do my best to get some type of length to where I could just better like my family, shape or form, and then go on from there.
But that's what I'm saying, though, is like the corruption is getting so bad, it's getting harder and harder to do that. That's the problem. Because there is a trickle-down effect to where it does start affecting me and you.
Well, yeah, there is
some
a trickle down
yeah.
effect, but like, I mean, honestly, like, there's so ways of making the form of a dollar, right?
Yeah.
If
you got a wormhole, you got a way to make some money.
Yeah. I mean, or there's like just things where like you just look at the Paul brothers, right? Where you just generally see it as that the way they go through things, right? And you either hate them or love them, type of thing.
I don't hate them, but I just think they're such douchebags.
Right.
They're fucking douchey, dude.
But I'm just saying, like, There's some things
I don't
in
hate
reality
anybody.
that holds you back because you just don't want, you have that sort of like respect for yourself, your integrity, right?
Yeah.
Where you see people jump ahead where it's like, how the fuck did you get $1 million, right?
Yeah, you
It's
farted in a
because
fucking OnlyFans video and now you're worth a
I mean,
million.
OnlyFans, or like you look at like the Paul brothers as like entertainers, because anyone could be a fucking entertainer. I mean, everyone could be
I hope
fucking.
that we're entertaining. I think
Yeah.
so. I'm having a good time.
Oh, me too.
This is a blast.
It is a blast.
I would do this every fucking day. Another thing that really pisses me off, going back to like the IRS, really pisses me off because it's not even a part of our government. It's a private institution owned by the central banks.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that's fucking crazy, dude.
Oh, it's really crazy. I see it. I see how everything that like could be crazy, good, whatever. I just think my form of living is I like seeing what the fuck's going on. It's like how it's like what like George Carlin said when he was like talking about how, he doesn't give a fuck about people who vote. He just likes having his like feet up on his like lawn chair,
yeah, and
drinking, just laughing at everyone that's voting.
Yeah. Well, he said that basically his whole sentiment was if you vote and you pick a person, you're not allowed to bitch about what that person then doesn't do.
Yeah.
Because you voted for that fucking person. So shut the fuck up and be happy.
And just be happy with what you fucking did. And that's just the hard thing too, is like, what happens if you feel like, oh, this is a great fucking person, and then, you vote for that person, and that person ends up being fucking considered as, like, worse than fucking Hitler, right? Then you're like, well, fuck, what the fuck did I do? I didn't know this was gonna go this fucking route.
So, on the record, though, you've never voted in your life, have you?
No.
That's crazy. Like, not even one time.
Not even one time.
Just to feel what, to see what all the buses,
fuck
about,
dude. It's a fucking lottery ticket, and I'm never fucking gonna win. Because the thing is, I think about this, and in general, it's other places, whatever. But like, let's say this: we vote, right? We live in, let's say Washington State, right? So. What is Washington State normally? They're normally
it's a blue state.
A blue state?
We're just Seattle. That's all we are.
Yes. So I just get weird vibes, right? I get the central that people find, because there's some people that treat it like a fun holiday, right?
Yeah, like an activity, an outing,
like,
a fucking...
Yeah, like where like they go out with their loved ones and, they take the day off and, they cast their fucking vote, right?
I'm putting my thing in the ballot box, ooh!
But my thing the things that I always thought growing up is like, if you want to change, people are like, okay, we'll make that vote. Well, say it like this. So there's different votes, right? There's like, the mailing bracket votes, right? Where you like fill in, what you want and, send it in the mail, right? Then there's, the in-person casting where you could just fucking drop it in the fucking ballot or whatever.
Well, like, I kind of agree with you too, because like fucking even John Mayer said it in one of his songs. When you watch the television, what you see is what you got. When they own the information, they can bend it all they want. And so I agree with you in your standpoint of like it doesn't fucking matter.
Well, if we're if we're a blue state and like let's say, in 2 years I'm like, oh, I like what the red team. I like what's going on with
the Yankees
them, right?
are doing good this year.
Yeah, I'll put in my like. So
fuck the Cubs.
So my whole thing is if if there's a shit ton of fucking blue, my fucking red ain't gonna fucking do shit. So I was like, what's the fucking point?
We need more red.
I'm not saying we need more red. in my mind, it's weird how things work, because
Yeah.
it's like, if we're known as a blue state, then what's the point of voting if you're voting for the other side, or vice
It's
versa?
never going to change it because it's just a majority blue state.
Yeah. So I
The
mean,
scale is weighted too high.
Yeah.
Well, because like the majority of our population's in Seattle. Was it 4 million people in Seattle?
Well, and you look how like technology has advanced, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it could be, of course, for like the good and the bad. Where does some of these come up to as, for example, technology got so advanced to the point where companies paying employees is a lot more different now than it was like 70 fucking years ago, right? 70 years ago, you could go to your work, do your work, and then they would give you, your pay stub or whatever. Where
A
you could
physical
just go,
paper check.
yeah, where you could just...
That almost doesn't exist anymore.
Well, no, because, I mean, I have many theories about that, but that is on another different rabbit hole. But the thing is now that we got to a point where everything is like direct deposit, or, through like, I could send you an email right now, and within like 5 fucking minutes or
No,
hour,
5 seconds.
Well, 5 seconds.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, in general,
Yeah.
you're gonna get
I'm gonna
that.
get that email. Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna get that fucking email. So like the thing
Better
is,
not be your butthole, dude.
right? Yeah, you might get lucky.
Yeah.
But the thing is with how things could also be, manipulated to where, I'm only showing one side of coin and not the whole coin, right? Mm-hmm. Where I feel like even when it came to like some of these, like the way that they do voting now, it's just, I feel like, I feel like some places are like, we counted 1,000 so far of this. That's it. Yeah. That's final.
I'm only seeing the very, very clipped side of that coin. Yeah. Very clipped.
The very
clipped
tiny,
and
like quarter.
Clipped and clipped all the way around. Wasn't there a famous group of people that did that a lot?
I don't know.
Coin clipping?
I don't know. All I know is that, I spend my life seeing things that are going on, and like, behind the fucking scenes, sitting down and just looking at it, nodding my head, and then I'll just go over and, spend time with my family, watch a movie, play video games, and then I go right back to the shit when I go to fucking work the next day.
You're like, back to fucking reality.
I mean, I'm like, well, this is fucking slavery 2.0 now. Like, and that's just my whole thing on it, because...
How's your 79 cents feel, you fucking wagey?
Fucking wonderful. No. Because my whole thing is this. Like, let's say fucking I'm a business person. Business person.
I got you.
And, everything you see, it's another job description. So, like, let's say you're smoking a cigarette, right?
Yeah.
There's no ashtray. You're just going to throw it on the fucking ground. Well, if that place had, like, housekeepers, maintenance or whatever outside, like, ground workers, right? Well, they're getting paid to...
That's falling in job security.
I mean...
No wonder my dad always said that when I was a kid.
Right? So my whole thing is, like, everything... There's a purpose for everything. There's always something that is a job. Like, this fucking lighter, this was someone's job, is to make
some young child in Taiwan made that lighter specifically for you. I guarantee you it says made in China on that motherfucker.
Yep. He did good work.
Some beautiful baby boy in Taiwan made that thing with love in his hands.
But I'm just saying, it was like, think about this. What happens if there's always something to do in relatively life. There's always a job, right? Because there's always something that keeps this train moving. I find it very, very, very interesting because, this goes back to where I'm not the biggest Star Trek fan.
Me
Right?
either. Yeah.
But I played one of their older movies, and
recently or long ago?
it was a long time ago.
Okay.
And I don't even know what the fucking whole movie
So it's gonna
was
be the
about.
Spark Notes version.
Yeah, no. I just know that within the movie it was very interesting because something happened to where they like fucking high speed whatever fucking time warped and they got to a different fucking time frame universe of Earth.
Okay.
And they were like stuck there. They were stranded. They needed some.
Did they run out of fuel or something?
They needed some work. So so when they brought this person from planet Earth, which was different than their fucking planet, and the person was like working on it, they brought in the whole conversation with her of like, oh, we appreciate you fixing this ship, and you must get like really good money. And she's like, money, and like kind of like scratching her head like,
what the fuck is that?
Yeah, and it was so interesting because like the way she was kind of like putting it out there was that, well, everyone pretty much gets treated the same. So like
she lives on a socialist planet.
Well, I mean,
essentially.
Just think about this. Like, let's put this in terms, right? Like, let's say you're doing a job, right?
Yes.
And regardless of what your job is, it doesn't fucking matter because it keeps this whole train on track. Regardless what your job is.
Oh yeah.
You could be a fucking plumber. You could be a person that does landscaping. It
falls into like the butterfly effect type shit, but like for reality.
So, in reality, your job is as important as the person that is doing surgery. That's the way I'm putting it, right? So my thing is, what happens if you work, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel anyone that works, I feel like, getting medicine, going to a doctor, like being able to put food in your mouth, being able to live in a house. Now, I'm not saying everyone gets a fucking mansion here,
I don't want a fucking mansion. That's a lot to clean.
Yeah, that would suck. Be the best place to play hide and seek. But the thing is, I feel like whatever you do in reality, like you should never be starving. You should never have a time where you're like, well, I need insulin, but I also need to make payments to
keep living in a house or have my power on or fucking.
Yeah, I feel like, and it's weird.
There should be basic human rights: medicine, water, food.
Medicine, water, food, and one of the things is housing. And I'm not saying like everyone gets their own fucking mansion, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like there needs to be like, well, you're working, you're keeping this train moving, and since you're providing this train to keep moving,
the train needs to get back to you.
Then the thing is you're no longer going to be on the back trail of things where you're struggling, because that should never be the fucking case. That's my whole thing. Why, as a civilization, are some jobs where it's like, you're either, not going to get paid the full amount that you're working, or the whole, statement of, there's so many jobs out there, but the only ones that we see that are like, oh, you could get paid like, $95,000 to, $180,000 per year, right?
Well, like even for what we do, we're like one of the lowest paid in the country.
Yeah.
And I seen a guy on Facebook last month doing a rapid fire where you tell me your occupation and I'll tell you how much you make. And I told him, and he's like, oh, you guys get way underpaid. You guys should be making like 50, 60,000 a year. You maybe make 30 something thousand a year. And I was like, dude, that's like right on the nose, bro. Like,
well, that's just my thing is I look at all this stuff and I'm just like, it does not make any sense at all, because regardless of what a person does, and every time I like talk about this type of things, people are like, well, you just want everything handed to you. No, I just feel like if you're doing any job, you're keeping this train steadily moving. At least you're trying to. So, in the means that you're trying to do this.
Well, I'm gonna add a little something to what you just said. You want everything handed to you. Do you want to know the biggest generation, a majority that people that say that are the baby boomers. They're the ones that say that shit. But they don't realize that when they were doing what we're doing at their age, they bought their house for like $12,000 and a pack of cigarettes. They bought their car for like $1,300.
Yeah.
They bought a brand new car for like $1,300. But yet they say, "Oh, you just need to work harder. You need to work more. Oh, you just want everything handed to you. Your generation's spoiled."
Well, I just feel I feel like if a person works 40 hours a week, they're keeping this train moving, so they shouldn't be ever fucking struggling for needs. And I'm not saying like everyone gets like fucking steak and lobster and Don Perignon every fucking day, but I don't think people should struggle in the means of survival, because now we're getting to a point where 40 hours isn't good enough. No, we're talking about 2 jobs, 3 jobs. I mean, there's some people that I know that have fucking 3 jobs and they could barely make a fucking dent.
I know a friend of mine who she works for an advertising company, makes a lot of money, and she still barely gets by, and she's trying to start her own business and work at that company she's trying to start a cleaning company and work at that advertising company.
Yeah.
Just to fucking support her and her kids.
Yeah, just to make things meet,
Yeah.
and that's just the thing. But then we're also like, subjugated to like, fear that runs everything, right? The fear of like kind of like breaking it down in terms of, since everything is commercialized and stuff like that, especially in games, movies, food, where you're like, oh, I have to have that, and the fear of not having that and being, felt like left out.
Yeah.
So then you're like, fuck, I gotta have it.
See, for me, it's not the fear of being left out. I think the biggest fear that people have is boredom. People are afraid of being fucking bored.
Yeah, I mean...
People don't like being bored.
No. And, we also live in like, this world where if your phone goes out, for whatever reason, you lose connection, you can't get onto, like, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, so forth. I've seen people fucking lose their fucking minds.
Just get outright, just in a rage, like a drug addict that's withdrawing.
Well, I mean, and I understand completely, right? Like, I play video games to escape, so when I
can't.
Once I get off a 40 fucking hour fucking work week or even more, and I get home, like, all right, time to...
See, I'm impressed that you can even do that, dude. How are you not, like, so tired from working that your eyes can even focus on said game? Like, how do you just want to not just crawl into your bed and just pass the fuck out? Because that's how I feel.
Because I feel like if I was to do that, then I wouldn't be able to enjoy things in my life, because we don't know our time in this world as individuals. You know what I mean?
When your time is up?
Yeah, when your time's up. Everyone, I feel like, is, I want to say there's a purpose for everything, like, preordained or whatever.
Everything happens for a reason.
Everything happens for a reason. So, like, if I try to do things as much as possible, just because if I feel like if I don't do it that way, then what happens if I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna sleep, sleep properly, work properly, all that, and then what happens if I was like hit by a fucking car? I'm like, damn, there goes I could have done this,
You
X,
on your
Y, Z.
as you got home, you went to walk up your stairs, tripped and slammed your face on the, and that was what killed you. You just knocked your face on the fucking.
Dude, it's gonna be a fucking banana pill for how fucking clumsy
Yeah.
I am. But
Mario's gonna show up and just throw a fucking turtle shell at you.
dude,
And fucking,
every time.
yeah.
But that's just the thing. Is to me, I feel like I try to do things that break from like, you know, the harshness of life. But I do understand the needs of when someone's like power goes out, this or that, and they just go fucking extremely like, what the fuck? I mean, for example, going to like stores nowadays or to like businesses, right? Like, I went to like Lowe's the other day, and majority of the fucking people that worked there were like on their fucking phones, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we lived in a time where now like it's like, oh, you can't be on your phone at work. Now it's like, but this is, you know, this is the only way I could like, you know, move forward. Like this is my body. Like I can't live without this fucking shit.
Well, that's why I said it's kind of like our fucking homing beacon. It's like everything that our identity is in a way is wrapped up in this device.
Yeah, so
And that's kind of like where I think different generations disconnect. Is like the older generations don't understand us with this because to them, technology is a tool versus like a symbiote. You know what I mean? It's almost like it's a part of us. Like we're Homo techno, dude. We're no longer Homo sapiens. We're Homo techno.
I mean,
I'm gay.
I feel like a lot of that is like just true in general of a form of speaking because, you know, we could say how much stuff are a fucking issue, and then we're like sitting here like, oh yeah, well I'm part of that fucking issue too. Right?
Yeah. I am the problem
because I can't like fucking be like, oh, this person over there that's always on their fucking phone and not doing their fucking shit and they can't live without it.
And then sit down and you're like,
well, no, I could like go home and then the fucking power could fucking go off and I could go fucking crazy because I can't fucking get in a Call of Duty match just to make some other smut's life. You know.
See, I'm weird when the power goes out. I go like monkey mode and I get kind of excited and I'm like, ooh, this is kind of fun. Ooh,
yeah.
Like, start lighting the candles and shit.
Let's just see what these chemicals make right here.
Yeah. Fucking no, dude. Like, I had a good thought. Like, fucking, I kind of lost it though. It kind of like it flapped its wings and flew away from me.
Yeah.
But like. That was what it was gonna be. So when it comes to video games, do you ever get anxiety when playing video games? Sometimes I get like anxiety, like, I don't know if it's like video game guilt or something. Like, oh, I should be doing something more productive. I shouldn't be doing this. Oh, I'm wasting my time. Like, what am I doing? I have this little voice in the back of my head sometimes that'll come forward and be like, stop. Stop. You should do something better. Yeah, like.
It's your Geppetto.
Yeah.
Do fucking something else. No, I've always felt like I was always like a fucking like competitor in the sense of like things. So it's like I may have never been like really good at fucking like basketball in real life.
No, you're the Shaquille
with the fucking sticks in my hands.
You're the fucking Shaquille O'Neal of fucking video games.
Yeah, so I feel like in general that since I have such a high like competitive edge when it comes to like gaming, and there's like so many different things of gaming, right? You have your gaming where you're like just playing your like story based driven, right? Where it's, you know, you're not going to become a professional gamer playing The Last of Us.
No, that's for personal pleasure. You're
going to see kind of like you're going to get like different aspects of like, you know, a different world, and that's what mainly a lot of people like try to jump into, like either it be music and all that kind of shit, is
See, I'm a
that
big music. For me, it's music speaks to me a lot.
oh yeah, I mean I can't listen to country anymore. It makes me too fucking depressed. But
I do fuck with some of Keith Urban's songs. He has some good ones.
right,
Yeah.
but my thing is when I play video games, like I've never got that anxiety or whatever, or that anxious or whatever, because there's so many like different avenues within gaming that you can do. Like, I
Maybe I'm
mean,
just the weirdo.
well, you're telling me you're trying to find fucking all the fucking hunting progress on like Red Dead 2. Where the fuck are all the cougars at?
Yeah, it was pissing me off, dude. I still haven't found the fucking cougar, dude. They jump out and kill me, and then I can't find them again.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just I kind of like have that fucking I don't have a lot of patience when it comes to gaming. I'll say that. So like
Are you quick to rage?
No, I don't rage at all.
Oh, that's good.
My thing is I'm like fucking the biggest like I would be just looked at as a person that has to fucking constantly like take Adderall, because when I play video games it's like I have short time frames of video games, so I could like hop on like Call of Duty, right, and like I could play a few matches and have fun, but then who knows when the timer starts. It could be for like 30 minutes, 20 minutes.
So you're talking about the timer to when you get bored of that and you want to move on.
Well, and then I'll jump on a different game.
See, I have that same thing where I play a game and I'm feeling it, and all of a sudden this feeling starts come over me, and I'm like, I all of a sudden don't want to play this anymore.
Yeah, because I'll have that like, oh, maybe I'll like hop on to like The Last of Us. I mean, shit. Last of Us 1 came out fucking
Beautiful game.
2000 and whatever.
Great game.
And then Last of Us 2 has been out since the PlayStation 4, right?
Yeah.
I've owned The Last of Us Part 2 for so fucking long now that
Came out in 2020 or 2019?
I'm not too sure. All I know is it's been out
For a
long
fat
enough
minute, yeah.
to where if someone said something to me about like the whole fucking spoiler, I deserve it, because I should have fucking beaten that shit when it fucking dropped. But with my attention span to like a lot of video games, and since I have that like competitive like nature, I'll like jump on Call of Duty for a bit, and I'll like switch over, and then I'll play like, for example, a little bit of your hero type 5 versus 5 like Overwatch or whatever, and then I'll play that for a bit, and then jump on like a racing game and race people.
Yeah.
And then eventually things will start catching up where I'm like, oh, maybe I should go finish that story, and not leave it on the back burner.
Itching at you, kind of.
Well, I mean, like Red Dead 2 is like it's always going to be one of the biggest talked about video games for how well they fucking did.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
And
fuck, they even included details like shrinking horse balls when it got cold.
Yeah.
That's a fine detail that they didn't have to do.
Yeah, they didn't have to do. But, like, the thing is I've never fucking beaten Red Dead 2.
What?
Yeah.
To be fair, I haven't either, so I can't really talk shit on that.
So, I mean, I have it installed. And usually when it comes to, like, games that are huge story-based where, now you're looking at, it's not just going to be 30 or 40 hours to beat the game. They put so much stuff in these, like, single-player RPG games.
You can just keep playing and keep
where
playing.
It, like, could go on for 100 to 200 fucking hours just to complete everything in the game. Where I own these big games, and I usually kind of have them like reserved if I do retire one time in my life.
Well, it's like too. It's like even when you play the game, even if you beat the story mode and all the missions, there's still like 50% of the game left. When you look at the percentage.
Well, it's like when The Witcher 3 came out, and I was like all fucking pumped for it. And
I haven't played any of the Witcher games.
I recommend it, especially like the third one, like that.
Can I get them on Xbox?
Yeah.
Okay.
But The Witcher 3 was so big because it was like their first time that it was like truly a open world experience. Kind of like how you see, the Elder Scrolls games where you just
See, I
start
love
off
the Elder Scrolls games.
yeah, where you just start off as like whatever smuck you create, and then from that point you could choose wherever you want to go from that point. Like you don't have to start there. You could like
start
swim.
in a different region and
Yeah, you could swim across the fucking ocean and start on the fucking other
you
island.
build up your gear and your guys' powers and abilities, and you get them stronger.
But
and
I mean, like, there's no like true A point starting. Like, it's not like those linear. Like, that's why I call like The Last of Us is that it's
very
not
very
truly,
linear.
like open world. Like, there's different things like you could go like different like avenues. I would call it more like 3 or 4 or 6 lanes where you could choose to go those lanes.
Well, like Red Dead, how you don't have to do the missions in order either. You can jump to like that mission over there and then go down to that one and
because that's the true like open world experience. So when The Witcher 3 came out, it was like that. It was you could like pretty much, go like once you're out in the world, you could just do what the fuck you want to do. And that's where it adds as like my retirement game, because once you fucking beat the game, now games added, now we have like 500 different alternate endings depending on how you fucking played the game. And after I played the Witcher 3, I was like, oh, well, I like that ending. But I don't know if I'm going to play it again just to get a fucking different ending, if that makes sense. I don't know if I could put in that much time.
Holy shit, dude, we're at 2 hours and 6 minutes, bro.
Damn.
It didn't feel like 2 hours.
I mean, yeah, the sun's still up.
Yeah, that's crazy, dude. So, do we want to do like a quick little like movie segment, or do you? Well, how about this? Rapid fire. 3 most favorite movies.
3 favorite. 3 favorite movies. Matrix.
Okay, beautiful.
Lord of the Rings.
Beautiful.
George Lucas, Star Wars.
Fuck yeah. Which one though? Which Star Wars though? You gotta have a favorite one. I know you do.
Revenge of the Sith.
Fuck yeah, dude. That's what's up. Give me some skin.
Yeah.
Yeah, doggy. For me, it would probably be Revenge of the Sith. I really love Interstellar. That movie is really good to me.
That's one of the best soundtracks.
Yeah, Interstellar is a great fucking movie. And probably Lord of the Rings is tough. That's because I really do like Lord of the Rings, but it's stuck between Lord of the Rings and fucking like the Clerks movies. That's right. So
I get that.
Yeah, because it's kind of like the same. I get the same vibes from both movies, except one's like wizards and dungeons and shit, and one of them's like ghetto ass white people and fucking they got their own Bilbo Baggins and fucking Sam, and it's Jay and Silent Bob.
Yeah, just a bunch of hooligans.
Yeah,
great times.
Alrighty, well, fuck, I think we've done our time. Holy shit, dude.
Oh yeah.
Oh damn. Any final words?
Well, I'm happy we made it to 10 episodes. And I'm happy for the new followers.
Yeah, we gained 11 new subscribers.
That's
really
awesome. Appreciate it. You're making this channel grow, and it's a very special thing.
Yeah, it's a blessing to us because it's an outlet for us. It gives us something to look forward to every week, even when John's not here. Because it seems to be me and Gordon are really good at doing this.
Yeah.
So, thank you, everybody. This has been the Dumpster Fire Podcast. We'll be back at you with another episode next week. Peace out, people.
Peace out.